Welcome back, everyone. We are fully operational once again, bringing you more coverage from the UK Star Wars LCG National Championships. We are now in the semi-finals. So this is the lower bracket. Both these guys have taken a loss early on in the uppercut. And now fighting to stay alive. One of these people will go home. One of these people will advance to the grand final. And who do we have on the right playing as Sith splashed with Empire? We've got Anton Price, Darth BS from the forum. You know him, you love him. Pretty active guy in the community. And on the left we have John-Paul Golightly, equally just as active. Both these chaps you've seen on numerous podcasts, No Disintegrations and the Council here in the UK. So from familiar faces. Anton starting Imperial Navy affiliation and seems to have dropped Council of the Sith, Fall of the Jedi and Last Grand Admiral. So pretty standard for the 2015 Nationals kind of era. Both the US and the UK saw a lot of Sith with Thrawn. Turn 1 drops a resource, an ISB and Thrawn, the man himself. Always good. Thrawn or any kind of just, it's nice to have a 1 cost or a 2 cost character turn 1, just so that you don't have to commit that big unit. Because sometimes if you've only got 1 unit and he's committed to the Force, a Kyle Katarn can ruin your day. John-Paul playing as Mono Jedi, starting with Heroes and Legends, May the Force be with you, and Heroes Beginning for 3 fate cards. Plays Ran's Guidance and finds Kyle Katarn. So there we go, that's what we're talking about. Thank God for that ISB. Or Thrawn might be getting focused down here.
It's near the building, I think it was. Is it near the building McDonald's?
Yeah. So if you...
He's got 4 to 9.
Yeah.
John-Paul plays Yoda. And drops a Moisture Evaporator. Commits Yoda. Just trying to play the slow game, it looks like. Commits Yoda, slows the dial down. And passes the turn back to Anton. So dial ticks up to 2.
I do miss out on tomorrow's LCG night in Edinburgh. It's a bit upsetting. It's a bit upsetting. Can't wait for it.
Well, full Star Wars on the stream.
Star Wars. See, I've had the benefit of playing different games over the week, and you've just played Star Wars, haven't you?
Yeah.
See, that's just too much.
2v2 starts.
That was gross. You played 2v2, that was like 8 hours. That was disgusting.
that was tough.
I never played it. I've only done the 2.
Dark Temple, the Force refreshing resource from Saris's pod.
Sorry?
Great resource there.
I've never played
And Darth Vader's tie advanced. Wow. So this is where we see Anton's deck come to life once again. John-Paul making a few jokes.
just getting the outfit. That's like, oh.
It's a surprise edition. In there mainly for a couple of units. The tie advanced and Vader, the pilot, are pretty good units in their own right. But the fate card in that set is amazing. It's only got 1 force pip. It's called I Have You Now. But if you can manage to win the edge battle in which you use that card, it just flat out destroys a participating enemy unit. So pretty brutal. Pretty brutal. I'm sure Anton used it to great effect on the day, making it all the way to the semi-finals. Anton always trying to surprise people with an 11 or 12 pod deck and putting some surprising objectives in there just to catch people out. Looks like he's passing the turn to John-Paul, who does a damage with the Balance of the Force to Council of the Sith. It's a good target. Usually one that you want to try and take off the board straight away. Council of the Sith, if you leave it, will just give your opponent so much card draw. It's hard to overcome. So take that out as soon as you can. It's usually not bad advice. John-Paul got a few options here. I think if he plays 3PO, that's the only unit he can only afford one unit here. So between 3PO, Kyle, and Luke, you're probably going to opt for probably Luke or Kyle here. I might be tempted to go for Luke, just so that you've got some targeted strike.
I think it's showing up everywhere. We've got like 4 at this point.
If anybody has a spare, I'll take one.
But Kyle's not a bad option. He's got 3 guns, so he can deal with any unit that Anton puts in front of him. Pretty scary sometimes having to block Kyle Katarn. And John does decide to go for Kyle. Uses his reaction to put a focus on the ISB.
Just come over and TO something quick, don't you?
And Kyle leading the charge, trying to put some more damage on Council. So you can see here just how much of a priority that objective is for John-Paul to get rid of. Anton blocks with Vader's advanced tie. And the edge battle begins. Now John has a couple of cards attached to his bottom objective, a hero's beginning. You can see them in his hand there. He can use those as edge cards in a battle, so he's probably got a few more cards available to him than Anton does. 2 to 3. Anton pushing this, trying to put a few more cards in than John. Anton goes for a 4th. And they pass. So Anton has 4 cards. Oh, there is it. I have you now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I think. John has 6, but he's got supporting fire, so he can add another one after the fact. And uses Kyle to get it up to 9. So it's Seeds of Decay, not having any targets, but supporting fire, they're doing some work for John-Paul. Without that, Kyle would have been dead from I Have You Now, so it's a good bit of insurance. Supporting Fire's sometimes an underrated fake card. It can get, just like we've seen, it can take you out of some tricky situations. It's good insurance against a lot of tricks. Twist of Fate, you don't really mind if you put a Supporting Fire in your edge stack. You can really use it to make sure the edge battle goes how you want it to. So well played, John. Looks like he's passing the turn, staying home with Yoda. And Anton draws a fresh 6 cards. Still anyone's game. Dial has just ticked up to 3, I believe. And John's got a few damage on the board. But that's not a bad drop. 2 drop there, Protector, 3 health, Emperor's Royal Guard. Probably the best 2-cost unit in the game. Certainly up there. Protect character, so that's going to be able to keep Thrawn alive, which is what you need when Yoda starts getting a lot of unit damage late in the game or Kyle's on the board. Suddenly it's not quite so scary to block with Thrawn. And a TIE Fighter. And Force Lightning to deal with Kyle. So a good turn there from Anton. Develops his board, gets a protector out for Thrawn, and deals with Kyle. And the TIE Fighter trying to start the ball rolling and get some damage on the board for Anton. It's a good little turn. Anton swinging for Heroes and Legends. Yoda's defending. Just one each. Seeds for Anton and Echoes for John. Oh my lord. So Echoes can remove Yoda from the Force, so the Seeds can't target him.
2-2, so I won as well. So
Still your seats.
no, I'm committed with Echoes. 5, innit?
Echoes does trigger first,
3 good.
so Seeds doesn't go off.
Protection and the heat of battle was one we kept on having, wasn't it? Protection and then heat of battle, I think it was that.
Yeah, that's the one we had, yeah.
Anton deciding that's enough. Takes the Force and passes turn to John. No. Oh, Owen Lars. Basically a Sith holocron for the Jedi. So it can really accelerate your board. Makes the next Jedi card cost 3 less. So Luke hits the table for 1 cost there, effectively. Luke and what else? 3PO. Great unit there supporting. Doesn't have any icons, so can't really, light the world on fire in an engagement, but he does have a nice little interrupt. He can sacrifice himself to cancel an event card. So if you don't like a card that your opponent plays, you can just negate it there. But both boards getting pretty scary here. Luke and Yoda versus Thrawn, and he's protecting. Yoda goes for Council. You can see just how much of a priority it is for John. The guard and the ISB block, so no messing around. Anton wants to put some damage on Yoda here. 2-2. 3 pips versus 3 pips.
He's supporting fires first. So you've got an Echoes. Oh, no, well, Echoes happens first, so.
Anton using supporting fire. John using supporting fire to make sure they win. And then you have an Echoes of the Force, so you get to commit someone if you want, John.
Commit Thrawn.
Opts to commit Thrawn. Heat of battle, damages Yoda. And then Yoda does his work, kills the Royal Guard and focuses out the ISB liaison. And we'll put a damage on the objective as well. Yep. And then Luke can swing in for free here.
Luke will go for the Jedi.
For the Jedi and a targeted strike. So 2 damage on Thrawn probably, and 3 on the objective. Wouldn't be surprised to see 3PO get a cheeky unopposed on Grand Admiral as well. No. Keeping him available. So Yoda refreshes with May the Force be with you, and Luke just refreshes because he's a badass. And John-Paul passes the turn. So Luke there, for anyone who doesn't know, Luke has just a built-in ability that means he can refresh 1 focus token at the start of your opponent's turn. So he's usually available on the defense as well. It's a bit of a powerhouse. Anton digging for answers. John decides to have a quick scan through Anton's discard pile. Sees 1 lightning.
Yeah. I noticed. It's my loss.
Trying to get a bearing on what Anton's got in his deck. Anton's pretty well known for, as I've mentioned, playing sometimes more than 10 pods. And by sometimes I mean most of the time. And there's always 1 crazy one in there that takes you by surprise. Anton playing Dark Precognition to draw 2 cards. I think he was trying to bait out a 3PO there. Maybe. But draws 2 and discards 1. Another TIE fighter. And a Kuwati guard. So the Kuwati security team. So two smaller units. Trying to build this board up for Anton. I'm sure you would have liked to have seen a Palpatine there or a Mara Jade. But he's also left an Imperial resource open, the affiliation card at the top there, or in the middle bottom as we're looking. So that means he could have some cheeky surprise events available to him. Chain of command to free Thrawn up, for example. Both of Anton's units, the TIE Fighter and the security team, swinging for heroes and legends. Trying to put some damage on the board so he can tick the dial up a little bit quicker when he needs to. John's just got the 1 card in hand, so it's going to be tricky to win this edge battle. I'd be tempted to let it pass. It's not going to destroy the objective. It's not going to end the game, so I think I'd let that through if I were you, John. And yeah, does opt for no defender, so unopposed. Anton declines to put anything to the edge battle, so just 2 damage and then the 3rd for unopposed. He goes home. Anton passes the turn. Can't win the force, so yeah, John does the last bit of damage to Council of the Sith. Takes that out of the game. That's one. First one out. Needs 2 more. And draws up to 6. Four resources open to him. He's got to get 7 damage on the board. 5 on Grand Admiral and 2 on Fall of the Jedi. Oh, trust your feelings on Luke. That's a good start. Means he can double strike. Oh, and that's a really pretty good enhancement art, actually. Luke swinging his green lightsaber, lining up nicely with Luke holding a blue lightsaber. Quite like that. Never noticed that before. An unfinished business. So it looks like John has moved to the conflict phase. Plays an unfinished business. Focus is thrown out. That could be painful. And that was Anton's biggest blocker. And a Trust Your Feelings Luke could close the game out here. Looks like Yoda's swinging. Yoda's going for Fall of the Jedi. Anton plays Chain of Command, but 3PO cancels it. Trying to free Thrawn up there, but no luck. Oh, looks like Anton's throwing the towel in there, so no way to beat that that onslaught from the Jedi there. So good clean victory there for John-Paul. Anton did have a twist in hand, so I would have been tempted to see how that played out, but yeah, either way, I think it's over. So a great show from these two boys making the semi-finals. Well done, boys. Anton unfortunately drops out of the tournament at this point, making the top 4, and John-Paul moves on to the grand finals. So well done, boys. John, we'll see in the next match, and hope you join us for the grand final. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Cheers.